Okay, what about poison? How do you know who's going to most likely be poisoned? You got a
People
clue?
who stay up
It
the path
doesn't-
and eat anything they see.
Not really, because
What about, you have another one?
there's not
One at a time, please, yes.
I think I know how a guy could get poisoned. It could be from blood poisoning because he might get scratched and it might infect his blood.
That's
which
true.
that's not
What about
blood
accidental
poison.
poison?
Like
Accidental
poison
poison.
ivy.
That's sort of accidental, but that's all kind of diet. Yes, do you have one at a time, please?
What about food?
They're all excited.
Like raw meat or undercooked meat?
That's food poison.
Ingesting stuff you shouldn't ingest, like mushrooms.
Yeah, you may not die from that.
Uncooked mushrooms.
Let me guys give the answer because we gotta move on. We gotta move on. What do you do if you come home or you're over at your friend's house and you see a little brother or little sister who's eating the entire bottle of these because they taste like candy?
What are they?
It doesn't matter, it's some kind of medicine.
That's not good.
Buying.
No, you take too much of a
What is
medicine.
it?
Ibuprofen. What do you do if you come home and you find a little brother, little sister, little friends, little toddler,
You call them
you thought this was
poison
candy
people.
and started eating them
Poison
one after another?
control.
Yes.
On my toothpaste it says if you
Yes.
swallow this, it's called poison control.
One at a time, one at a time, please.
Stop it.
Okay. You got the floor. What do you do?
Well, first you would make sure they're breathing by looking for a pulse by
You know, if they have a pulse, but you gotta call 911.
yeah
Okay.
and they'll oh yeah. And
This is accidental poisoning. Little kids are the most likely to be accidentally poisoned because they don't know the difference between this candy, or they may think that the soap under the cabinet is a soda pop or something.
Oh, kind of.
They don't know. They're the most likely to get poisoned.
But that's just like food poisoning. I didn't
It's like food
blame.
poisoning, yes, but you didn't do it on purpose, you didn't know that.
I
But
know.
if you come across somebody who's obviously had something they shouldn't have, call 911. And if you got the number to poison control, you can call them, or just call 911, don't call poison
Poison
control.
control
for you.
has too many numbers.
It's got a long number, just call 911. The thing to remember is, when you find a little kid with an empty bottle or something, save the bottle. You gotta tell the person on the phone what it is that they took, because we can't fix them if they don't
If
know
they
the
can
phone.
read.
Can I say something
Could be.
completely wrong
They
with
said
them?
10 years
Like,
old.
eat non-meat
You gotta have the
products,
bottle,
eat
and if they tell you,
something-
read me what's on the bottle, you start spelling the word on the bottle until you figure out what it is that they took. That's real important, because if you take ibuprofen, they're gonna treat you one way than if you took sodium pentothal or something else.
A lead, too much a lead. Take the whole entire thing.
So you gotta know what it is that poisoned them. Then they can get you the right help. Don't do anything to treat them other than call 911 and tell them what they took. Okay, because you don't know the best thing to treat for it.
You might
whatever
just
it is
make
they're
it
poisoned.
worse.
If you give them something to drink, it might make it worse.
This might go down.
Don't make them throw it back up, that might actually be worse. Depends on what it is that they swallowed. Okay, so you call 911, tell them what it is they swallowed, and they'll tell you what to do next. Okay?
911.
911. what did I say?
911.
Said 91.
All right, okay, those are the two easy ones. Heart attack, stroke, and poisoning are relatively simple. You don't have to do a lot other than call 911.
Get
I'm trying to help.
Bleeding is bad.
Now, we're gonna talk about other things. What happens if they're not breathing? Obvious answer?
What you do call 911. Well, actually, you try to do CPR. You tell them that you're trying to do CPR,
Mhm.
and then if that doesn't work, then you want 911.
Oh,
First thing you do, almost, first thing you do is call for help.
And then do CPR.
And then, well, first of all, decide, are they really not breathing? Okay? Now, let's,
Heart
hold on, guys. Who's most likely to need rescue breathing? What situation is gonna require you guys to help with breathing? What's what-
Choking.
You know, you really know?
The
I'm
person,
multitasking, go ahead and talk.
the person who's most likely to stop breathing is an elder.
But why would they stop breathing? Anybody want to venture why you might have to do this?
Because their lungs will stop working.
Why?
Because elder people.
Okay, the most likely reason you have to do this is somebody drowned in the swimming pool. That's the most likely cause for somebody needing to be
I've already done that. Let's get it.
I know, you've already done this, you don't have to do it.
Let's get it
Yes.
Couldn't you use a defibrillator? I think is how you pronounce it.
Defibrillator is for a heart attack,
Oh.
not for breathing, okay?
Go
There's two different
like
things
that.
going on,
Don't-
yes. Go on.
don't you like pump, well, for CPR, don't you like pump on the chest and blow into the mouth or something?
That's the two of them, you're right. For CPR, you're not gonna do CPR. CPR is you're pushing the heart, pushing down the heart to pump the heart blood to the
This
heart.
one you have to hold their nose.
We don't actually have to do this. We're doing the breathing part. When there's, what CPR stands for is, the C is for cardiopulmonary, cardio, and the P is for pulmonary, and the R is for resuscitation. So cardio is the heart. When the heart stops, you gotta pump the heart. When the pulmonary is your breathing, that's your lungs. When your lungs get full of water, they don't work anymore. Most likely, the reason you guys would have to do this is somebody drowned. Somebody fell in a swimming pool and couldn't swim good enough, or fell out of a boat, whatever. That's most likely the reason you're gonna have to do CPR, or the breathing part. You're not doing the heart part, it's doing the breathing part. Now, at Wheelos, you guys have to know how to do the breathing part. You need to be Boy Scouts, you have to do the heart and breathing. So what you're gonna do, let's say you're swimming, and you see a kid on the bottom of the pool, and he ain't moving. That's bad. That's bad, because it means he's probably not doing too good. So you pull him out of the bottom of the pool, and normally, if you've been under the water for a minute, what happens when you come up above water? Yeah, you grab a big breath as soon as you come out of the water. If you pull somebody out of the water, and they come up, and nothing happens, what does that tell you? That's not good. It means they're not breathing anymore. It means they've probably got water inside their lungs, and their breathing stopped. The first thing you have to do is find out, is he breathing or is he not breathing? Yes?
How would blowing into the mouth help?
Because their mouth is connected to their nose.
Okay, when you take a breath, the air is going in my mouth, into my lungs, and back out again when I breathe out. When my lungs stop working, no air is coming and going. So what I'm doing is laying here and dying, basically. So what you have to do is you have to blow into my mouth to blow air into my lungs, because I can't do it myself. And then let it come back out. So you're gonna breathe for them. That's what you guys have to learn.
Don't you breathe through the mouth because it's easier to?
Well, it's bigger. You don't want to breathe up their nose. That's good. Okay, so what we're gonna
Well, it
do.
doesn't go in their nose too well. and
Yeah,
it
the
has
nose
to
is
go
too-
around this way.
What
and
we
their
have
mouth
here-
just goes straight in and down.
Is we have a drowning victim here. We're gonna practice on a drowning victim. Everybody gets to do this. Well, Mike's optional because you already did this.
Yay! I want to do it.
Okay, little trick here. I'm using an alcohol pad because I figure you guys don't want to kiss this thing. So I'm gonna wipe it with alcohol. But the trick is, if you don't have a sterile environment, you can make one real quick. I say sterile environment. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna open my alcohol pad.
I want to do something.
We're gonna do something in a minute. I'm gonna open it like this. Guess what? The inside of the package is clean. As long as I leave it there, it's perfectly clean. You think the top of the table's clean?
No.
Okay, so I can reuse this. I'm gonna use this, I'm gonna wipe this out. You guys are gonna do this. So I'm gonna wipe them up so you guys don't get any germs. And I'm gonna keep this right over here, and I'm gonna use it again next time. That way I don't have to get a fresh one every time. As long as I keep it on here, I know it's okay. The other thing you're gonna be
Yeah,
learning
but
to
you've
do.
already wiped it.
Yeah, but who knows when that was, so. Last week. The other thing I'm gonna do.
No, I mean, now you've wiped it with that pad, so are you gonna reuse
Yeah,
that
it's
pad?
sugar alcohol, I told dries it.
Okay.
If you need to make a clean area, paper towel, napkin, Kleenex, whatever, that's my clean area, okay? Table's not clean, but this is reasonably clean. So
Reasonably.
make yourself a reasonably clean area for
Or
work.
you should soak the table in a pool of
Okay.
alcohol.
You guys see, hey, can you guys see from there?
No.
Okay, come down here.
Don't just see.
Now, the first thing you're gonna know, you just pull this kid out of the pool, okay? Before you start doing anything, you gotta find out, is he breathing or is he not breathing, okay? So what I'm
Mike.
gonna do is I'm gonna watch and see if this is going up and down. Because when you take a breath, now me, I got a big old tummy, I'll take a big breath, it'll come out and go back in. If this is not going up and down, he's probably not breathing. You can also
Yeah, listen to his
ear right
mouth.
over his mouth and see if you hear anything. If you don't hear anything coming out, he's probably not gonna
Couldn't
hear
you
it
also
coming
feel
out.
for his heart or
Yeah,
whatever?
we're talking about
check his
breathing.
pulse?
Now, that's one thing you really would need to do when you get the Boy Scouts for CPR. You're gonna need to check his pulse, put your ear on his heart, and see if you hear a heartbeat. Because you may have two things you have to do. If his heart's beating, we're gonna assume for this exercise, his heart is beating really fast. He's just not gonna get air because he's full of water. So he stopped breathing. So what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna do rescue breathing. We're gonna pretend to be the firemen or paramedics. So when you pull a kid out of the pool, first thing you wanna do is make sure you get the water out. See if he's got any water in his mouth. Lay him flat on his back. He's gotta be on a flat, hard surface. So I wouldn't probably put him on a table, and you wouldn't put him on
Well,
a
try
pillow and
with the
stuff.
table, it's hard and it's flat.
It's not on the ground, you put it on the ground.
But you'd
Because
have to
you're gonna need to be doing
lift the
stuff.
person up to the table, right?
And when you get to CPR, when you learn CPR, you gotta push down. If he's on a pillow, this won't go down, his back will go down, his whole body will go down.
Well,
So it's
and
gotta
if
be
you're on a
appropriate.
table, you
Yeah.
don't quite have
Right, you gotta be able to do
Table
this.
the force.
Okay, so what you're gonna have to do, in order to make this work, you have to make sure his head is back. Because you gotta make sure his mouth is clean, is open, and his tongue is, if you lift his head up, like this, back, his tongue will get out of the way. If it's down like this, his tongue may block the air passage. Okay, so you have to kind of lift like this to make sure his head is tilted back. What you're gonna do, 2 fingers, you're gonna close his nose, you're gonna put your mouth over his mouth.
You don't want to
Blow in.
breathe him in.
No, you blow in, you do not suck air back
I
out.
have a question.
Yes.
What if he still has some water left in his nose? Where would that water go? Would it stay in his lungs?
It's gonna stay in his lungs until he coughs it out.
Okay.
That's okay, if it's a little bit, it's okay. If it's full of water, that's not gonna work too good. That's why you try to get anything out first before you start blowing. You gotta have room for the air to get in. But even if it's
So
got,
do you have to open his mouth when you turn him on his
well,
side?
usually the mouth will open, but you can always check to see, does his mouth open? Is it gonna come out? So what you're gonna do, laying flat on his back, you're gonna pinch the nostrils closed and blow into his mouth while his head's back like this. That should clear the tongue out of the way, and air will go into his mouth, down his windpipe. When you do that, what you're gonna look to see is, does his stomach rise when you blow into his mouth? Because if his stomach rises, you know you're getting air inside his lungs. If nothing's happening here and you're blowing away and nothing's coming in, you know the air's not getting down in there, okay? So you gotta get the head back, pinch the nostrils, blow into his mouth, and this thing is gonna come up a little bit like a balloon.
Yeah, it does.
Yes.
Do you fix the nostril so any air doesn't go through there?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
because
because
they're connected.
If you're blowing in his mouth, you don't want it to come back out the nostrils. So now if it's a little bitty baby, you can just put your mouth over their nose and mouth, because they're so small, there's no point in pinching
No,
the
that's
nostrils.
hard doing it with the hard CPR. You want
Yeah, with a little bitty baby, you just blow over everything, because it's easy, your mouth is so much bigger than their mouth, if you can just cover them. But with a kid about your size, you're gonna pinch the nostrils, make sure his head's tilted back, blow into his mouth, and you gotta blow and look and see, is his
But
stomach
it's hard
coming
to
out?
blow and look at the same time.
You gotta be able to do it by
Can't
yourself.
really
You may
see.
be swimming one-on-one in the buddy system, and your buddy starts to drown, and the first thing you do, when you pull him out, very first thing you do, you gotta call for help. And I mean call for help. I want to hear you guys shout, "Help! Help!" That's what you gotta do, because if you're standing here doing this, nobody's calling 911. Okay, and that's the most important thing, is for the paramedics to ride, because you can't do this all day long. You gotta get help. You gotta get somebody else doing help, and you start breathing, okay? Okay, who wants to try first? Okay, you're up here.
I'll do it
Remember,
last since I've already done
You
it.
gotta get his head back, pinch the nostrils, and practice blowing in his mouth. And then we're gonna see, does his stomach come up? Make sure his head's back.
So, do
So
I
you gotta
just
do-
like put it back?
Yeah, hold it back. If you need to, there you go. Pinch the nostrils, hold the head back, and then blow it. Remember, blow in,
you
don't
don't
suck
have
out.
to. You don't have to put your lips against his.
Blow in hard and see if this comes up.
It's a good kind of.
You gotta have a little more than that. You gotta get a good seal on there. You gotta get your mouth on top of it. Yeah, you gotta cover it. You gotta cover it hard. And I didn't see anything come up. There it went. See, I came up that time.
Can they
Okay.
put their hand on the person's stomach to feel it?
If you got enough hands, I don't know if you got enough hands. You could try it, but I don't know if it'll work. You can try it and see if you feel
Well,
it.
that might not be.
Yeah. It really takes everybody involved to make sure this works.
If you only do it one-handed, sometimes like,
slightly.
Yeah, as long as you're getting some air in there. Now, what you're gonna do, you're gonna take a big breath and blow the entire breath into the dummy, and then come up for air. So you blow a full breath into him, and then you come up and take another fresh breath, and you wait about 5 seconds, and you do it again. But you gotta see, actually, if you concentrate on blowing in, come up and you can look and see, is it going back down? That means you know you got air in there.
Pete,
Okay.
why don't you have Cole, why don't you do what you're supposed to do and have Brandon put his hand there so
You
Cole
watch.
will know how
Okay.
much air he has to blow in.
Okay,
And Brandon can say, put it right on the tummy, Brandon?
Yeah, right
Okay,
there,
now,
so it's gonna come
because
up.
then that way Cole can do what he needs to do, and he
Okay.
can tell how much air it takes.
And don't rip the nose off. Like, normally
Fine, he's trying hard. Now get your mouth on there, good and hard, and blow hard. Did it go
Not
up?
literally rip it off. I don't think so.
Okay, you gotta get the
Blowing
head back.
outside.
Get the head back.
Head back,
So,
okay.
Do you put your hand under their chin?
You can if you have to. It should open up, but you can. You can try open it up
Yeah,
like
just
that.
yeah,
Try
do
that.
that.
Okay, try that.
If anything.
yeah, it's coming
Is
out.
it going in
somewhere.
there? Is it
No,
going
I
in?
feel- I hear it coming out.
I can see it like blowing out.
Is it going up any?
I can't tell.
Does the dummy have a tongue? Did it swallow its tongue?
No, I don't think so.
Well, Cole got it to come up the first time
Yeah,
he did
it's just
it.
really hard to do.
I think I felt it come up a tiny bit.
Yeah, it's really hard to do. It's not easy to do. Okay, I see
I
what you're doing. Okay,
feel
you
it.
Feel it?
try to blow one whole full breath in
Saw it come
there,
out.
and then
Yeah.
take another breath. Start. Okay, you want to pass it on?
Cole passes
Hold
out.
on. Give me the thing.
Oh
Yeah, Cole's
boy.
gonna need oxygen himself. Okay.
Or else he's
All
gonna,
right.
or else
Okay,
he's gonna
guys, we'll
need
be
some-
nice. I know Cole's good at everything. Yes.
Do you really have to do this?
Well, do you want to kiss Cole? I mean, come on.
Okay, why don't these two switch? Brandon, you want to go next?
Oh.
Come on, you can do
Yeah,
it.
Brandon, you
It's
can do
it's
this.
safe.
Let's get the alcohol dried
I
off
think
here.
after this alcohol,
Okay,
I think after
Don't
this
let it back
alcohol, we're
you.
gonna need a new alcohol
Now,
pack.
Yeah, we don't need any alcohol.
We're not gonna use the same one.
It
five,
It is
6
possible
times.
that when people chuck like that, they'll swallow their tongue.
Yes.
And you have to reach down.
Actually, he's right. If you don't have any success after several attempts, what you're supposed to do is turn their head over to the side, open their mouth, reach inside there and see if there's anything in there, and move their tongue
Yeah,
out of the
because
way.
they can swallow their tongue.
Yes.
Well,
You have to
or you can
actually-
actually look in first
You
to
can look
I
see.
in.
actually had to do CPR one time, and the person had swallowed
You
their
tell
tongue.
every time, yeah.
And
So
it,
It's like their tongue
if
goes
you
down
can't,
their
if you
throat.
can't get any air to go in, it means you need to turn their head to the side,
not CPR.
look inside their mouth, maybe stick your finger in there, clear the area. See if it's got anything. Okay.
So they can swallow
It needs to be back.
No, it doesn't
Open them
sound
up,
right.
squeeze the nose, open them up, put your mouth on there, right on there, good seal, and blow as hard as you can in there.
Okay, this
You can do it. This is the part about be strong. You gotta pinch the nose. Pinch the nose closed, hold his mouth open, get your mouth on there hard. Something
it right
stuck in
through
there.
his-
Let's say
The
it was a
Heimlich maneuver.
Heimlich maneuver. Okay, do you know how to do it sitting down? You guys know how to do it sitting
Except you
down?
can't do it like this.
Don't you like?
No, you go.
No, but
Well,
like
okay,
if
when
that's
you're behind it, when you're behind him, you do it like this. And when you can't do it when he's passed out. Passed out, we do the alternate. Put your palm here, and hope it didn't come out and hit you in the face, okay? So that's the alternate. It's kind of like CPR, except it's on the stomach, to force whatever's in his throat to come out. So if you can't get air in, and you think he may have swallowed something, you do the Heimlich maneuver for laying down, so you can clear the airway. And then you start blowing in again, okay? And you keep blowing, if you have to, until paramedics arrive. Otherwise, they're gonna die, okay? That's why you gotta be ready, man. Okay, was that good? You guys got this?
Yeah.
It's not easy,
Yeah,
is it?
this.
And stuff like
Oh
this.
yeah, I got it.
And Cole and Mark are gonna be over here getting firewood.